Welcome to LFFL Prime Time, the fastest 5 minutes in the universe. Not quite as fast as it was when it first started, but I like to go in depth. Got a good stuff to tell you today. Look at the original league right here. We had a tie, 206 to 206. Believe it or not the highest scoring game in LFFL history. We'll get to that in just a second. Ties are still broken by bench points. Eric had a whopping 138 bench points to go with the 206 he actually scored. Wow. Eric's going to get the win over Josh in this one, improved to 3-0, the only undefeated team in this league. Now, is this the most points scored in a loss? It is not. Slick actually had 218 scored against him back in 2-7. I mean, he scored 218. Greg scored 233 and 217, a high scoring affair. And this is actually not even the worst one for Josh. Josh scored 209 points in a loss back in 2014. So, hey, Josh, tough luck here, but defending champ, still looking strong, scoring plenty of points. Other winners this week, Bill Berardi wins. We have Miles Moore with the W. We have Phil beating his brother Greg by almost 100. Andy, the close one, over Matt. Look at your standings. As I said, Eric, 3-0, leading the way in this league. He is also leading the league in scoring as well. Phil, Andy, Miles, Bill, all 2-1. Josh, Todd, Matt, Greg at 1-2. Myself, 0-3. Can't even crack 300 points on the season. Yikes. Week 3 in the LFFL, we have Eric taking on Matt Merrill, your only undefeated team, taking on Matt. Eric leads this league in scoring by a lot, but Matt holds a series lead 29-26. Andy, 2-1, taking on Todd, 1-2. These two have actually split their season series for the last 6 seasons. Very impressive. Todd does hold a 17-15 series lead. Greg and Josh, both 1-2, both looking for a win to move back to 500. Josh, third in this league in scoring this year, whereas Greg's only 9th. Greg does have a commanding 26-9 series lead. Greg's actually won 6 of the last 7. The only win by Josh in that stretch, though, last year's semifinal. Josh won a thrilling 161-156 game to advance and ultimately win his first Super Bowl. Phil, taking on myself. This is a Super Bowl rematch from back in the day. Phil capped what I consider to be the best season in LFFL history when he beat me in Super Bowl III in 1995. 211 to 111 was the final of that game. I did get some revenge in 1999, winning Super Bowl VII, 137 to 89. To me, the craziest stat in all of the LFFL, all the stats I have, might be this one. I have absolutely dominated this series with Phil, which is crazy. Phil has a ridiculous good winning percentage in this league. I have a 46-24 lead in the series. I can't explain it. There is no explanation. Phil is one of the best fantasy players I know. I don't know how this works. But your primetime matchup is going to be Miles versus Bill, the only game that features two teams with a winning record. Miles has scored 422 points this year. Bill scored 421. So we could say these teams are pretty evenly matched. Bill has won all 8 regular season games against Miles, but of course, as you would expect, they did play once in the playoffs, a game won by Miles by just 2 points. Fantrax currently has Bill as the 6-point favorite over there. LFFL2, congratulations to my brother. Post the high score of the week for the second time in 3 weeks. Could be looking at another 2002 season out of him. I say that Phil has the best LFFL season ever. Phil has the best LFFL season ever in 95. Andy's team would have that title, except they got upset in the semifinals. Andy's 2002 team literally was a high-scoring team 3 out of every 4 games. He was like the high-scoring team like 12 out of 16 weeks. Could this team be trending the same way? Andy's looking really strong this year. A 70-47 win over Eric. We had Greg beating up on me. Miles, a 2-point win over Bill. Sean losing to Team Merrill, and Todd was able to take out Phil. Looking into our standings, Andy paces the way here. 3-0, a whole cluster of teams at 2-1, a couple teams at 1-2. Sean and I still looking for that first win of the season. This week, I am taking on Eric. Greg is taking on Bill. Miles is taking on Todd. The Merrill brothers are taking on Phil. And Andy, undefeated team, taking on a winless team. Could we have an upset here, or does Andy continue his streak this year? LFFL 3, look at this. In the original league, Josh, second high scorer and lose. In this league, I was the second high scorer and lose. Look, we can't be mad about this, Josh, because guess what? Dolphins dropped 70 on the Broncos this week. So I'm going to let it go. Usually I grind on this one. I'm going to let it go this week. Miles is the one that takes me out. 146 high score of the week. Congratulations to Miles. Eric actually tied me for the second high score of the week. He was able to take care of Todd. Greg, a resounding win over Matt Merrill. Matt Brennan touches out Nate by just 3 points. Bill, a 5-point win over Andy. Sean, a dominant win over Phil. Looking at your standings, Bill is the lone remaining undefeated team in this league. Sitting in right behind him, we have a big cluster of teams at 2-1. Myself, Miles, Eric, Todd, Greg, and Phil all at 2-1. We have Andy, Sean, Matt Brennan at 1-2. Nate and Matt Merrill still looking for that first win of the season. LFFL 4 on Sunday. Congratulations to Greg. His first win of the season, his 21st overall win. His score, 18th best score of all time. And if you look, he only beat Matt Brennan by less than a point, which means Matt Brennan has the 19th best score of all time, even though he did not get the win. Eric, a strong third place showing at 189.24 points. Looking over it in Monday Night Football, Todd enters his first Monday Nighter of the year and wins that showdown slate. It was really a 2-game slate, so not technically a showdown. Todd takes first. Andy comes in a close second. Bill takes the bronze spot in the middle stands. Looking at your standings on the year, Matt Brennan is still pacing the way at 34. Greg, few wins the last couple of weeks, up to 32 points in second. Eric in third, myself in fourth, Miles in fifth, Andy in sixth. Look at the LFFL 5. Sean and Phil both top 200 points every week this season. Both did it again this week. Sean in a win over Eric. Phil in a win over Bill. Sean actually has the high score 2 of the 3 weeks so far in this league. Your other winners this week, I was able to take care of Todd. Greg was able to take care of Miles. And Andy, a tight one over Nate. Looking at your standings, we have 3 teams still undefeated over here. Sean, Phil, and myself. Greg sits at 2-1. Big group at 1-2, and a few teams still looking for their first win. This week, I am taking on the Cooper Troopers. That is right, Eric coming my way. Phil taking on Sean. Greg taking on Nate. Miles taking on Todd, and Andy taking on Bill. However, of course, this Phil, Sean matchup, the marquee matchup, 2 3-0 teams going at it, and they're actually the 2 high-scoring teams in the league. Should be a good one. LFFL 6, we have a new leader, Phil. Sorry, I apparently forgot to change your name. Phil has indeed jumped over Greg. Phil is the 4.3. Greg is the 4.7. Miles sticking close to the 2 of them at 4.9. Miles was up a full point thanks to 4 different scores in the top 3 for his different teams. Andy went from 11th all the way up to 7th. He is your actual biggest mover. Your monthly leaders, Eric, Greg, Miles, Josh, Phil, Matt Brennan, and Phil in August as well. LFFL 7, your elimination is Jeremy. I thought it was probably going this way on my preview show. It did turn out to go that way. There's a lot of points to be scored by a lot of teams. Jeremy joins Todd and myself as already eliminated. Third week in the LFFL 8, we have a third different leader. Greg, a 209.5 week, sneaks past me to take the lead this week. Todd down in third place. Bill in fourth, Matt Brennan in fifth. And then finally, LFFL 9, this will be the last qualifying week. So after this week, we'll eliminate the bottom 5 teams. Currently, those 5 teams are Jeremy 2, Sean, Todd 2, Eric 1, Miles 1. As you can see, Miles is looking in really bad shape, almost 200 points behind Greg. He's already out. Eric 1 at 424, likely already out also. 458 for Todd, 467 for Sean. Not looking good, but Jeremy could have a stinker of a week. Greg could have a bad week. Nate could have a bad week. He only scores close. Jeremy 2's got a real chance here. Jeremy 2 at 513, 16, 527, 15, 533, 14, 541. And if you want to know how easy it is to make a big move in this league, last week, Bill's 2 teams ran 0.3. Look at Miles' 2 teams this week. His best team scored 242.7. His worst team scored 76.7. It's a massive difference. So if you're looking at where we can go in terms of this week, you have big changes. You can see the 8th seed only at 579. That's Jeremy 1. All the way down Jeremy 2 at 513. That's not a huge gap. There is still a lot in play this final week. Greg, shout out to Greg, just set a new scoring record at 271.9. That is the highest single game in these qualifying rounds. So congratulations, Greg, on that effort this week. That's all I got for you. Hop in our DK contest. It's been an awesome season so far with DraftKings. Let's keep the fun rolling there. And good luck to all of you in week 4. We will talk to you next week.